day, everyone. I am Shaina Jan A. Uhuman, and now let's talk about the high value plantation and industrial crop production. When we talk about high value crops, it is refers to those crops that have competitive returns on investment. And onion crops, or also known as bulb onion, is the one high value crops in the Philippines. Onion, Allium cepa L in scientific name, are biennial herbs usually grown as an annual from bulbs or seeds planted after rice. Besides being one of the most indispensable culinary ingredients in the world, onions are well known in suppressing blood sugar levels and platelet aggregation. Widely cultivated in the Philippines are red onion or red crawley or white onion, yellow granex, and multiplayer onion, shallot, or native onion. Native onion cultivars in Tanduyong and Batanes are known becoming the increasingly in demand for export. And next is the onion products. These are the onion products. First is the onion powder, second the fried onion, third is the cocktail onion, and the last is the cracker onion and chips. So this is the parts of onion. When we talk about the parts of onion, first is the flower. So this is the flower, the stem which connect to the flower, then the leaves, then this is the bulb, then the roots, and the last, these are the seeds of onion. Then now let's talk about the parts of bulb onion. When we talk about tonic, so it is the form of several layers. So as we can see, if we cut it, these layers are concentrical succulent leaves. Then second is the scale or leaf bases. Then this is the bud of the onion. Then next is the basal plate. Then last is the root. Next is the botanical description of onion. Onion allium or allium cepa. The leaves are either erect or ob-like, and there are 3 to 8 per plant. The onion plant produces pink or white flower clustered on stalk. The bulb are formed just above the flattened stem of the plant by overlapping leaves. The bulb is made up of several layers and each corresponding to a leaf. There are generally oval, but shape can be variable and occur in cluster of 3 to 18 to a plant. The bulb is protected by a membrane which turns to a papery coat. Onion plants can reach a height of 50 centimeters or 20 inches and grown as annual harvested after one growing season. So the origin of the onion has not been conclusively determined, although it is likely to be somewhere in Southeast Asia where the gene pool is most diverse. Next is the soil and agroclimatic factors. Places with distinct wet and dry season are suitable for commercial onion production. Onion growers or onion grows best in mild climate and dry and warm condition for a proper maturation of bulbs. Well drained, sandy, and silty loam that are friable, fertile, and able to maintain adequate moisture are favorable to onion growing. In seedbed preparation, seedbed for onion is from 50 to 70 cm wide, elevated, and convenient length. Plow the seedbed area as deep as possible and harrow several times. Seedbeds should be parallel to each other at a distance of 30 cm. To raise the seedbed 10 to 15 cm high, excavate the soil in the proposed pathways and put it on seedbed. Pulverize the topsoil 3 to 5 cm depth and then level the surface. These seeds are planted at 1 to 1.5 cm depth. And minimize weed problems by irrigating the area after harrowing to allow weed seed to germinate. A week after they germinate, plow and harrow again repeatedly before sowing. Sowing. Make a shallow furrows horizontally across the seedbed with 2 to 5 cm spacing in between. Apply vesicular or vascular mycorrhiza or VAM or VM, a biofertilizer that helps in water and nutrient absorption and prevention of soil-borne diseases. So 200 to 250 seeds per 5 meters of furrow at a depth of twice the seed size. Cover the seeds with well-pulverized soil and top to them with rice straw and hull mulch. Water the seedbed thoroughly using 10 to 15 grams trichoderma pores, a fungus that helps minimize incidence of soil-borne diseases like dumping off mixed in 16-liter water. Bulblets are planted in the seedbed 2 to 3 cm apart within a row and 3 to 5 cm apart another row. About 200 to 300 kg of good bulblets are needed per hectare. So these are the VAM and trichoderma. Next is care of seedlings. Weed and fertilizer with 10 tablespoons 14-14-14 or 16-20-0 dissolve in 16 liters of water 2 to 3 weeks after germination. Reduce frequency of watering 10 days before transplanting. Allow seeds to suffer from the mild wilting before watering to harden the seedling. So water the seedbed thoroughly and or before pulling them gently. Avoid damage to roots or stem for transplanting. Land preparation. When land preparation should be started after sowing seeds in the seedbed. It can be done by zero or minimum tillage with rice straw, mulching, or conventional tillage. Zero tillage requires rice stubbles and weeds to be moved as close to the ground as possible. Application of non-selective herbicide, plowing to and harrowing twice or thrice may be done instead of herbicide application in minimum tillage. Broadcast 45 grams of 14-14-14 fertilizer. Spread mulch 5 to 10 centimeters thick throughout the field. In conventional tillage, field is plowed once or twice, harrowed twice or thrice every 2 to 3 weeks until transplanting. Irrigate field after harrowing to allow weeds to grow and be removed in the next farrowing. For final land preparation, plow the area once and harrow it several times, then level it. Rows of narrow, shallow furrows are made parallel to each other, 5 at 10 to 15 centimeters apart. Apply 14-14 in the furrow at the rate of 10 grams per linear meter. Cover the fertilizer with fine soil. Planting or transplanting. Before transplanting, dip the seedling roots in a mixture of trichoderma. Next, soil is pressed for better contact between soil and roots. In direct seeding, 3 to 5 seeds are planted per hill at 6 to 8 cm planting distance between hills in the furrow. Third, apply VAM or trichoderma before seeding. Fourth, cover the seeds with soil. Next, the irrigation or watering. Water immediately after planting. In unmulched plots, watering is done every day in the morning to prevent dumping off, especially during the early stage of vegetative growth. For mulched plot, water every 5 to 7 days or when temporary wilting occurs. Second, stop watering 10 days before harvest. Fertilizer application. By using VAM application, 1 to 2 weeks after planting, apply either broadcast or dissolve in water and sprinkle 15 grams of urea and 10 grams morate of potash per square meter or 150 kilograms and 100 kilograms respectively per hectare. Second, repeat the application when bulbs start to develop. Too much fertilizer may result in oversized bulbs. For direct seeded, fertilizer 1 month after germination and when bulbs start to develop. Next is harvesting. Harvest onions when next soften. Leaves change from green to yellow, roots die and fall over. Selected harvesting is suggested to avoid rapid deterioration of immature bulbs, which may in turn cause to deterioration of older, more matured bulbs. Last, the basic storage and handling tips for dry bulbs onion. Always handle onion with care. Do not drop onions as this often causes bruising and internal decay. Bag or box onions should be stored at least 1 foot away from the walls and other pallets to allow proper air movement. Keep stocks of bags or boxes at 5 feet or less. Store onions in a cool, dry, well-ventilated area. Maintain the storage temperature of 45 to 55 Fahrenheit. Do not wrap onions in plastic or store in plastic bag. A lack of air circulation will reduce shelf life. Onions should be firm and dry, be free of gray or black mold, and should not have any visible sprouting. Some loose skin are normal. Do not store onions with potatoes or other produce items that release moisture. Keep onions out of direct sunlight and after heat sources. Last, cut onions will keep for several days if sealed in plastic bag or containers and refrigerated. Next is the common pests and diseases. Diseases. The category of these are fungal. First is the black mold or Aspergillus niger. The symptoms of this are post-harvest black discoloration at neck, lesions and outer scale, black streak under the outer dry scales, entire surface of bulb turning black, and shivering. Next is the Botrytis leaf blight or Botrytis squamosal. The symptoms of these are small white lesions with light green halos which may expand slightly as they age. In prolonged periods of moisture, fungus may develop rapidly and cause leaf blighting. Third, the downy mildew or Peronospora destructor. The symptoms of these are pale spot or elongated patches on leaves, gray purple fuzzy growth on leaf surface, leaves turning pale then yellow, leaf tips collapsing. Next is the Fusarium basal plate rot or also known as Fusarium oxyphorum. The symptoms of these are curving yellow or necrotic leaves. Necrosis begins at leaf tips and moves downward. Wilting plants, infected bulbs may be brown and watery with rot spreading from stem plate to basal leaves. Stem plates may have brown discoloration. Next is the Fusarium dumping of Fusarium oxyphorum. The symptoms of these are rooting seeds that are covered in mold, discolored root tips which may pink, tan, yellow, red, or black, slowly growing seedling which wilt and die. Next is the pink rot, Ophoma terrestris. The symptoms are light pink roots which darken and turn purple. Roots become transparent and water soaked. Plant may look like it has a nutrient deficiency. Infected seedling may die. Stunted plants with undersized shriveled bulbs. Next is the purple blotch or Alternaria pori. The symptoms of this are small water-soaked lesions on leaves or stalk with white centers which enlarge to become zonate or brown purple in color with red purple margin surrounded by yellow zone. Large lesions may coalesce and grid leaf, killing any tissue between the lesions and the leaf tip. Severely infected foliage may die. Next is the rust or Posinia pori. The symptoms: small white flakes on leaves and stem which develop into circular elongated orange pustules. Severe infestation can cause leaves to yellow and die. Last is the smut or the Orocystis colechi. The symptoms: dark thickened layers on cotyledons, seeds, leaves, which may become large and cause leaves to bend downwards. Raised blisters may be present on the base of the scale in older plants. Lesion must mature and become covered in black powdery fungal masses. Plant's growth stunted. Death of plant occurs within 3 to 4 weeks. Next category is the bacterial. The leaf streak and bulb root or Pseudomonas viridiflava. The symptoms: water sock, dark green oval lesions or streak on leaves, deep burn of leaves, dark spot on upper scales of bulbs, reddish brown, discoloration of inner scales, rot developing in wing-like pattern. The next category is the omicity or the phytum seed root dumping of Phytum irregular. The symptoms is the seed water sock, mushy and decomposing. Infected roots are gray and water sock. Seedling that have already emerged prior to infection collapse and die. Older plants that become infected become severely stunted. Next is the pest. The category: mites. Bulb mites or Rhizolyphus spp or Trichophagos spp. The symptoms is stunted plant growth, reduced stunt, bulbs rooting in ground or in storage. Pest is a cream white bulbous mite 1 millimeter in length which resembles in pearl with legs. Next categories is the insects. Leaf miners or Lysorzema spp. The symptoms: thin white whiting trails on leaves. Heavy mining can result in white blotches on leaves and leaves dropping from the plant prematurely. Early infestation can cause yield to be reduced. Adult leaf miner is a small black and yellow fly which lays its eggs in leaf larvae, hatch and feed on the leaf interior. Next is the onion maggot or Delia antica. The symptoms: stunt or wilting seedling plant will commonly break at soil line if an attempt is made to pull it up. Its infestation occurs when the plant are bulbing. Bulbs will be deformed and susceptible to storage root after harvest. Adult insects in a grayish fly which lays white elongated eggs around the base of the plant. The larvae of the emerge from the eggs are tiny and white and bore into the onion plant. Mature larvae are about centimeter or 0.4 inches long with feeding hooks. Next is the thrips, onion thrips, western flower thrips, or also the thrips tabaci or Frankenline accidentalis. The symptoms: discolored, distorted tissue, scarring of leaves. Severely infected plants may have severely appearance. So references. So these are the references of my report about the onion crops. And that's all. Thank you and God bless.